Okay, so my presentation is going to be on why I think that free public college instituted at the federal level would actually be a bad idea in terms for recent graduates seeking jobs and for the economy as a whole. So first, I just want to play a little video clip to give everyone a little perspective.
Had this idea that, oh, you know, if I do get enrolled into a good university, then of course I'm gonna get a job right, you know, after I graduate. That's how I thought it was gonna be. The hardest part for me was I felt like I wasted 4 years of my life. It's definitely very hard to find a job. Right now I am studying for a customs broker exam. Customs brokers, they collect tax for the United States government on importations, importations coming into the United States. Now it feels good to have something to focus on, and hopefully I can pass the test and actually go down this career path.
You almost lose hope and want to take a new direction in life. Sometimes you even think about going back to school to achieve another degree. Maybe it'll take you a different path, which is in a sense, spending more money because school is very expensive. Higher education is even more expensive than a bachelor's degree now. How you doing? What's going on? I'm currently working at a restaurant in Woodbury, in the Woodbury Commons, called Graffiti, as a server, full-time.
Okay, so
If you click slideshow at the top, I think you
slide, I'm trying to not do the mouse.
can. Is it just not working?
Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry. So, you just saw a video of two recent college graduates. I'm sure a lot of us know somebody in that similar situation or even felt that way, whether about internships or just worrying about the future, where regardless of the debt or how much money that those people spent during their time in college, they graduated and now they can't find jobs. So the recent economy is facing a serious problem with oversaturation of college graduates. And so, like I said, regardless of the cost of these college tuitions, I had to look at the question, will making college even more accessible and encouraging more people to go to college really help the overall job market? And my answer to that question was no. So reason number one is because I think that free college would be not necessarily the best idea for our economy, is because it will make our college degrees less valuable. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, in the 1940s, only about half of high schoolers were actually graduating and going on to complete their degrees. At that time, it was relatively easy to find a job just with that relatively basic skill set in which you could support a family, buy a house, own a car, and have a relatively comfortable life. Today, we know that's not true. Over 80% of people are graduating college and graduating high school, and a high school diploma has become a relatively unimpressive achievement. So if we were to completely publicize four-year college degrees, it's only a matter of time before that just becomes an extension of the public school system and everybody has a college degree, and you're going to have to work even harder to try to differentiate yourself from the rest of the crowd. Also, the quality of the education over time would decrease. Historically, when things are run in the public sector, people just don't make as money as they would doing the same job in the private sector. So over time, better professors, quote unquote better, I'm using the term loosely, will be offered higher salaries at private institutions, and over time all these good teachers will start getting these higher salary jobs in private institutions, and will end up creating a large gap, much like we see today in the public school system, where a lot of the public schools are vastly inferior to a lot of the private schools just because of the amount of money that is pumped into each of them. So I'm an economics guy, so just a little bit of visualization about what I'm talking about. If we have the supply and the demand for college degrees here, quantity is the overall quantity in the market, and the price would be relative to the actual value of your degree or how marketable it would be in the market. If we increase the supply by shifting it to the right, you have more quantity, less value. Reason number two is that free college is obviously not free. It's going to cost billions and billions and billions of dollars. According to CNN Money and several other similar studies done on the subject, Bernie Sanders' plan for free college would cost upwards of $750 billion in his first 10 years of implementation. And Bernie and other supporters claim that they could pay for this by taxing Wall Street. Now, whether people like it or not, Wall Street does have a lot of influence in Washington, and the fact that a tax like that would ever pass is very slim. And even if a tax like that did get passed, these companies are very international, would simply maybe relocate their headquarters from New York to another country to avoid paying these taxes, which would decrease tax revenue significantly. Also, tuition is not the only cost associated with college. Just because your tuition is free doesn't mean you're going to have no cost associated with college. Tuition in Florida is actually the cheapest of all 50 states relative to, or public tuition in Florida is actually the cheapest out of all 50 states. But everybody knows that the tuition is not the only cost. You still have to pay for housing, books, a lot of other things that you still have to take out loans, still take on debt for. Reason number 3 is that college is actually a privilege, not a right. Higher education, I agree, is far from perfect. Their tuition costs are too high, I think. There are obviously serious problems with textbooks and other costs associated with it, but making it free and publicized is not going to help the situation at all. I think that college is a serious decision that people need to make themselves. They need to maturely evaluate the costs and the benefits of what they're going to study and how they think that will affect them later in life, not necessarily just go to college, take out a bunch of loans because that's what you do. And like I said, free college obviously wouldn't be taking on as many loans, but there would still be costs, and especially your time wasted. People just don't need to be pushed into college just thinking that it's the right path for them. Also, I think that if somebody actually has to make the conscious decision, maybe take out those loans and really emphasize the self-worth of their degree and how much time and effort they've actually spent, it would really help them understand their accomplishments as well as the accomplishments of others. So, how do we make this better? Much as, like Sarah was saying earlier, there's a very negative stigma around not going to college. That people see it as, if you don't go to college, you're considered a failure, and I think that's just simply not true. Like she said earlier, there should be a lot more emphasis in educating high schoolers about maybe trade or vocational schools. Welders, electricians, and plumbers can easily make upwards of $70,000 to $80,000 just a few years into the business if they're good at it. Also, public and military service is always an option. And another point I like to bring up is that we should be regulating more how public universities spend their money. Schools are, at the end of the day, for higher education. They're strictly there for academics. For example, just the University of Florida, we have people that work in the rec sports department that get paid upwards of $50,000 or $60,000 a year just to organize intramural sports. I mean, so we need to maybe take a step back and look at why are our tuition costs so high. Maybe we need to think about like where the college is spending the money, just because they know that people will just get loans and pay whatever they're asked. So maybe we take a step back and look a little bit more about the system as opposed to just saying that it's evil, that we can come together and help solve the problem. Thank you.